If you walk into any sports bar and ask who you want taking the last shot of a tied game, you're guaranteed to start an argument. The sports media consensus almost always narrows the debate down to two names for late-game execution: Damian Lillard and Stephen Curry. For decades, basketball culture has romanticized the idea of the clutch gene, this widely accepted belief that certain players possess a biological or psychological trait, allowing them to magically elevate their physical performance under intense pressure. But according to an exhaustive 11-season academic study of NBA play-by-play data from UC Berkeley, that clutch gene is entirely a myth. There is a massive gap between subjective sports journalism, which thrives on building compelling hero narratives, and objective academic data, which relies strictly on math. As a result, we end up judging these players and making massive roster decisions based on a magical biological trait that statistical analysis proves does not actually exist. That narrative gap is exactly how we get the current debate. Lillard is heralded as the ultimate clutch weapon, while Curry is frequently criticized on sports networks as a late-game choker. Lillard's reputation is built on a spectacular legacy of 25 game-tying or game-winning shots since he entered the league. Contrast 0 for 12 on go-ahead playoff shots in the final 50 seconds. Fans view this wild disparity as absolute proof that Lillard has the gene and Curry doesn't. Psychologists call this availability bias. Availability bias tricks our brains into heavily weighting spectacular, memorable events like a 37-foot buzzer beater, while completely discarding the lower-profile, routine misses that happen most of the time. Letting those memorable highlights dictate our definition of clutch blinds us to the actual statistical reality of late-game execution. To find that reality, the Berkeley researchers established a strict academic definition of clutch time: the final 5 minutes of a regular season game with a score differential of 6 points or less. As this chart shows, overall field goal percentages plummet dramatically across the entire league under those conditions. However, three-point shooting percentages surprisingly remain completely flat in that same high-pressure window, contradicting the expected drop-off. This scatter plot shows the binomial test results, comparing expected non-clutch shooting to actual clutch output. Almost zero players consistently outperform their baseline averages. The vast majority of the league degrades significantly when pressure hits. The academic conclusion is clear: performing well in the clutch is not a reproducible physical ability. It is simply an episode of positive statistical variance. Since players do not magically improve under pressure, the true measure of a reliable late-game asset is simply the player whose baseline efficiency degrades the least. Applying these empirical findings completely changes how we evaluate the differing styles of Damian Lillard and Stephen Curry. When the defense tightens, Lillard demands the ball. He relies heavily on isolation plays, often taking heavily contested 35-foot three-pointers straight off the dribble. This hero ball approach creates a high-variance outcome. It carries a very low mathematical probability of actual success, but it delivers a massive psychological impact to the opponent and the crowd when it does hit. Stephen Curry operates from a completely different foundation of baseline efficiency throughout the entirety of a game. This chart compares their output, detailing Curry as a historic 50-40-90 shooting threat with a vastly superior overall field goal percentage, 49.3%, compared to Lillard's volume-heavy 46.3%. Instead of isolating, Curry's strategy relies on constant off-ball movement. He operates in constant motion, running an estimated 7 miles per game through moving screens. This relentless movement creates what analysts call gravity. Because Curry is such a lethal shooter, his mere presence off the ball inherently pulls double teams away from the primary action. The trade-off here is stark. Curry rarely gets to take the dramatic, highlight reel final shot because he structurally forces the defense to create a highly efficient open look for one of his teammates instead. Lillard plays to hit a low-probability individual miracle, while Curry leverages his gravity to ensure the team gets a high-probability open look. So, if you are an NBA general manager down by 3 points with 10 seconds left on the clock, who do you actually draft? This matrix lays out the scenarios, placing Damian Lillard squarely into the high-variance need quadrant. If you have a stagnant, poorly constructed overall offense that struggles to score, you absolutely require Lillard's ability to create a shot out of thin air to survive. Conversely, Stephen Curry moves into the system-based efficiency quadrant. You shouldn't pick a closer based on a perceived genetic trait. You make the choice based on whether your existing roster requires a miracle worker to bail them out or a system multiplier to maximize their chances. This debate ultimately comes down to what you value more, the emotional requirements of the everyday fan or the data reality of an analytics optimizer. For fans who define greatness strictly by unforgettable emotional highlights that send the crowd into a frenzy, Lillard will always be the undisputed winner. But the academic data is clear. The clutch gene is an illusion, manufactured by our own availability bias and sustained by media hype. If you prioritize mathematical probability and statistical resilience over highlights, Stephen Curry's unmatched baseline efficiency makes him the superior late-game point guard.